What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my official 2021 NBA free agency predictions. Of course, I'll actually be ranking these from 1 to number 10, pretty much starting off from, the worst play, well, not the worst, but of course, not the all-star, more of like the role player type guys, to, of course, obviously the stars like Kawhi Leonard, Chris Paul, etc. Again, there are a couple of these, really nice role players that I have, not put in this video. I'll actually be looking to put these guys in a part 2, so definitely stay tuned for that. But with the number 10, I've actually got Tim Hardaway, and I've actually got Tim Hardaway re-signing with the Dallas Mavericks. I know there has been a little bit of interest, from New York and the Miami Heat at various stages of the season. New York dropped off a little bit. Apparently, Miami are still very much, there. But considering he had an exceptional, elite playoffs with Luka Doncic, especially in the, the first round, obviously with, of course, against the Clippers, it was really, really insane for him. I don't expect to see him leaving it at all. I think that they're really interested in looking to trade away Kristaps, which means they'll have so much cap. Like, other than Luka, they don't really have guaranteed money to any player, so Tim Hardaway is probably going to get a lot of money from the Dallas Mavericks, and again, he'll most likely re-sign there. Of course, as I just said, the Miami Heat will be there. They will be waiting. They will most likely offer up a contract, so I do think they desperately need a scorer off the bench. I just think it's pretty obvious that, the Dallas Mavericks will most likely be the favourites to, of course, sign him. Now, moving on to Dennis Schroeder. This has been a player that a lot of people have been talking about, and in my opinion, I can say this as I see it. I do not think Dennis Schroeder is re-signing with the Lakers. I think that, the people who are saying he'll most likely re-sign are obviously hopeful, Lakers fans, or some Dennis Schroeder fans that potentially think that that's the perfect fit. Of course, in my opinion, I don't think it's the perfect fit. I think he's made it quite vocal. He does not want to be on the Lakers. Before he got traded there, it was rumored he said that he wanted to go to a smaller market team, and that he just wanted to play on small market teams throughout his career. Of course, that's why he signed with OKC, in the first place. Of course, he looked like he has barely tried with the Lakers throughout the season. He had terrible playoffs. He knocked back a huge extension. He does not want to stay with the Lakers, and that's putting it quite simply. A team that has picked up a lot of traction real recently is actually the Phoenix Suns. And some people might be like, well, why would he go to the Phoenix Suns? Are they going to have enough cap to kind of make this work? And the reason a lot of people are saying the Phoenix Suns could be the team, and I've actually got them as the team I think could be the favorites to get him right now, is because it looked like Dennis Schroeder really enjoyed being the sixth man on OKC and actually playing behind Chris Paul. It seemed like they had a great connection, a huge bond, and that there is even potentially some interest from Phoenix that they might even potentially want to sign Dennis Schroeder. And I think, considering they haven't had a super big scorer off the bench throughout the whole entire season, of course, Campaign turned into an absolute god somehow against the Lakers. I don't expect that to be consistent. I still think they need a scorer off the bench. I think everyone can agree Campaign's probably not going to do this for much longer. I think Dennis Schroeder would be absolutely perfect, and this team has tried a lot of real small ball lineups under Monty Williams, having Jay Crowder at power forward, Mikal Bridges at small forward. None of these guys are really, tall or above average height for their positions. They're all, either pretty average or kind of playing small ball. We've seen Dario Saric even play some small ball center here and there as well. I think, how awesome would it be? No team is probably going to be stopping Dennis Schroeder, Chris Paul, and Devin Booker. Could you imagine those three on the court together? Considering we saw SGA, Schroeder, and Paul work out absolutely insanely, I definitely think that Booker and Schroeder and Paul could work out really well as well. So I think they'll go for it. The other team I could actually see, which no one's actually talking about, which is really bizarre to me, is the Indiana Pacers. The reason I think the Pacers could actually be interested in Schroeder and could potentially get him is because it's reported that Lakers are very interested in Miles Turner. Of course, if Miles Turner does get traded to the Lakers, it'd probably be maybe a sign and trade, player would get traded. which I could see Schroeder getting traded for Miles Turner. I think Schroeder would love it in Indiana. He can go back to his 6-man position, which I think he does want to play, and I think he knows that's his best spot. I feel like the only reason he wanted to start in the Lakers was to piss them off, because his Lakers run was just a disaster. And then again, Indiana are a small market team. So again, I've got pretty much Dennis Schroeder. I think at the time, I probably got him right now going to Phoenix, and I think Indiana could be a possibility. Unfortunately, the thing is with Dennis Schroeder, there haven't been exactly too many teams that have been interested in him at the time of making this video. Now, moving on to a more easy one with the number 8 spot I have is Lauri Markkanen. This is pretty obvious. I think he's going to sign with the Dallas Mavericks. They have been very highly interested in him, and there was a rumor he actually spoke to people around him, and a close source did actually say that he is very much set on joining the Dallas Mavericks in free agency, and there is no way the Chicago Bulls are going to, you know, match the offer, because Vucevic and Markkanen, it just doesn't work. It was never going to work, and I think they know this. So I think them bringing in Vucevic was pretty much the see you later, I guess, to Lauri Markkanen. So that's pretty obvious. I think Lauri Markkanen is definitely one of the big favorites to go to a, you know, team that's kind of almost set in stone now. I think, yeah, if Lauri Markkanen's not back at the Bulls, he'll be playing for the Dallas Mavericks next season. Moving on to number 7 now, we got Goran Dragach. And I think it will come down to what Miami do. If, of course, Miami accept his team option, he'll be staying in Miami, unless it was a sign and trade, which I don't think it'd be. There have been rumors they are looking to accept his team option and sign him to an extension. I don't know, though, because that team option is actually about $19 million, which is absolutely ridiculous. So in my opinion, I actually think they're probably going to decline that. And I kind of sound like a broken record here, but the team I think Goran Dragach might sign with is actually the Dallas Mavericks. Again, this is the third player in this video that I've got going to Dallas. You've got Tim Hardaway re-signing. Lauri Markkanen has been very interested in going there, and it's been rumored that Goran Dragach has been interested in going to Dallas for the last couple seasons. And for those of you who didn't know this, a couple of years ago, before Heat actually got Jimmy Butler, there was reported there was a confirmed trade where Dragach was going to the Mavericks, but the trade fell through on the last second. Not just that, there's a lot of European players on this Dallas Mavericks teams, and I've heard somewhere, you know, I think some of us have heard this as well, that, of course, Goran Dragach reportedly has a close bond to Luka Doncic. I could seriously see this happening, and I promise, guys, this is the last player I talk about going to the Mavericks for the rest of this video, most likely. But again, I think that, yeah, Goran Dragach, Lauri Markkanen will both be 2 additions to the Dallas Mavericks team, plus Tim Hardaway potentially re-signing. Number 6 now, Victor Oladipo. I have him re-signing with the Miami Heat. It's been very evident for a long time. He has been absolutely trying to force his way into the Miami Heat for so long. We, of course, know this. He has been wanting to play there for quite a while. He basically requested a trade from Houston when he looked like he was going to leave Indiana. It was reported that he really wanted to go to Miami. Again, the only way I can see him not being back in Miami is if he's asking for too much and they just say, hey, you're not worth that. You haven't proven anything to our team. We're not going to bring you back. Of course, there is always a scenario that happens. What team Victor Oladipo would go to, I'd be absolutely oblivious. I've got no idea. I guess he'd look to go to a contender like the Lakers or Bucks and somehow getting a sign and trade deal done. But I'm not even going to go to the makings on how that would work with cap space, because I think he's re-signing with the Heat, to put it quite simply. I don't think he has a backup plan at all at the time of making this video. Number 5, I do have Demar Derozan. This is a real interesting one as well. I don't think he's going to be staying at San Antonio, although there is a team out there right now that is on the east side, which has been very rumored that Demar really wants to go play for an eastern side team, and that's the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks have a lot of cap. It's reported they're going to be trying to get 2 stars in this free agency, 1 through trade and 1 through signature. I think they'll offer Demar Derozan a near max contract, and I think he will accept that. He gets to go back and play in the East, where it's highly reported that he wants to go. He goes to a team that is contending, where he, you know, can keep up his defense. You know, Tom Thibodeau very much values defense, And of course, Tom Thibodeau does have that mid-range, in his coaching scheme, which Demar Derozan very much is good at. Of course, when Demar does try on defense, he is usually pretty decent. When not, he can be a bit inconsistent. But hey, I think the New York Knicks would actually be a very, very nice fit. And I think a lot of people can see this one coming. It's been rumored that the Knicks have also been interested in him for quite a while. And again, he wants to go to an, Eastern team. So yeah, in my opinion, that's probably what's going to happen. Number 4, Kyle Lowry. I don't think he's going to be re-signed with the Toronto Raptors. I'm super surprised they didn't trade him on the trade deadline. I don't know. I think he expected he was going to get traded, and it was kind of weird that he, of course, didn't. I don't know. Maybe they just couldn't get a trade off in time, but I think he knows it's probably time for him to move on from the Raptors right now. It's been very, very reported that the Sixers are interested in him and that he very much wants to play for the Sixers. I don't care how much cap issues the Sixers are in right now. They will find a way to get Kyle Lowry to the team. Now, I guess how this could kind of work is, of course, Danny Green is on about $15 million. That is expiring. I believe Seth Curry was on $9 million. That is expiring. I think Danny Green will go on a, simple like $2-3 million contract. Not exactly that much. I think he knows he's a veteran now. He doesn't need the money. He'll probably re-sign very cheap, which will leave about $12 million. I think Seth Curry will probably sign on something similar. Of course, he's definitely worth a lot more, but when you're playing on a contending team like this, I think he'll know to, of course, take a pay cut. And then again, the Sixers, they will have Mike Scott, who will be expiring as well, who's on about, I think, $5 million. Look, they're probably going to have like a $20 million sign and trade type thing they can probably work out. Look, Kyle Lowry, I think he knows that for this all to work out money situations, he's probably going to need to take a pay cut. But I think because he wants to go to Philly reportedly that much, which I believe is where he's actually from. I can't remember if he's from Pittsburgh or Philly, but I know it is Pennsylvania, and I think he does, of course, want to go there. He's been interested in him. They've been interested in him. It will be interesting to see. I think he'll take a pay cut to get there. And then, wow, a team like, you'd have Lowry at point guard, Seth Curry at shooting guard, small forward would be Tobias Harris, power forward Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid at center. You'd have Danny Green coming off your bench, who's still a really nice role player, Shake Milton, so many other players. They'll probably bring back Dwight Howard. If the Sixers don't win the championship this year, because at the time making this video, they are in the second round against the Hawks, then that'll be a big, team to potentially try and win it, of course, next year. Now at number 3, we have Mike Conley. Now, I've actually got Mike Conley re-signing with the Utah Jazz. I think that's pretty obvious. I think they desperately need to keep him. He had a really nice season. I don't think he'll really regress from this point because his defense was elite and he's always been a good defender. He just needed to find that consistency back. Again, he is a very nice and capable, efficient scorer when it does come to it, and he's a great leader. So he'll be back with this Utah Jazz team. I don't think he'll be on $30 million a year. I think possibly on a $25 million per year deal. I think they'll make it their priority to probably, keep him there. Unless they want to play Donovan Mitchell at point guard next season, which I just don't think Mitchell's a good enough playmaker to be able to, potentially do anything like that. So I can't really see, a situation where that happens. I just think, Mike Conley will get back. The only issue is Utah Jazz, who recently overpaid, of course, a couple of their players quite a bit very, very recently, especially Rudy Gobert, who's on I think $40+ million a year. You don't want to make that same mistake with Mike Conley. I don't think Mike Conley deserves more than $30 to $35 million a year. That would be absolutely outrageous. I think he should be on $25 million. He should know to maybe take a pay cut this time of his career, especially if he wants to contend with this Utah Jazz team. So it'd be pretty silly for him, I think, to go on more than 25 mil. But with how this Utah Jazz has overpaid some teams very, very recently, look, who even knows? It could possibly happen. Number 2, we do have Chris Paul. This one's a really, really hard one because at the time making this video, they're in the playoffs right now. They're in the second round. I can't remember who they're playing. I think it's Utah. I don't even know. But whoever they're playing, I think they'll do pretty well against, of course, at the time making this video. A game hasn't been played yet. But Chris Paul broke news when he declined his player option. I don't even know. It was like a $44 million player option. It was reports that he will be declining that, which is crazy. A lot of people are saying he's going to leave the Phoenix Suns, but I just can't see it. I think he'll re-sign with Phoenix. I think this team is too good for him to leave, considering, you know, they'll be able to have Devin Booker on the max. I think Paul will obviously go on a very, very convincing max contract. Some people are saying there's no way a team signs him for more than $30 million. Let me tell you this right now. Chris Paul's contract will probably surprise a lot of people, and it will probably be a $40 million per year deal. And the reason I'm saying this is because if Phoenix don't offer it to him, another team will. Chris Paul is that valuable to, you know, an NBA team. He can literally take a, you know, trash team to the playoffs. He is one of the most underrated players in the NBA for so long. Chris Paul is one of my favorite players in the NBA. I think he's really, really good. Everything he does is not really too much of a flaw in his game. He's a great player. But here's the thing. If Phoenix don't offer him $40 million a year, another team will. And he could literally go to like the Bulls or something and have a similar situation where he'd be playing with like Zach LaVine instead of like Devin Booker. But of course, he'd have more of an offensive center. A couple of things will of course be different. But I think he'll stay. I think he'll get the deal done. It will probably be about $38 to $40 million a year. Some people who are saying $30 million, I'm telling you right now, it will be more. I'm pretty sure at least. Devin Booker will continue to be on the max. I think DeAndre Ayton will get re-signed to a near-max contract, if not a max contract. And then Mikal Bridges will probably get about $15 million or so a year. And then I think they will really go and have a look to go on a sign and trade and maybe get a player like Dennis Schroeder to add some scoring off the bench. I think Darius Saric, who's on about $10 million per year, he'll probably get traded. And I think this year, considering they didn't bring in too many veteran players, I could really see a lot of veterans coming to this team now. I'm talking about players like Trevor Ariza, etc. You know, not necessarily Trevor Ariza, but role players like him, like maybe an Andre Iguodala, these older veteran type role players. I think Phoenix will start to get a lot more of them very, very soon. Now, moving on to the number one, the one that everyone's been waiting for. Kawhi Leonard. Will he go to the Warriors? Will he go to the Knicks? Will he go to the Heat? I have him staying with the Clippers. I'm sorry to, you know, kind of hype it all up, but I think Kawhi Leonard will not 100%, but 99%. He'll stay with the Clippers. He moved to California for a reason. He didn't choose the Clippers, you know, because they were like such a great team to play for. You know, even Clippers fans will probably agree on that. Yes, they had a cool season, but Clippers have been known to sometimes be a disaster for a long time. He chose them because they were his LA team, they were a California team, and it made sense for him to go there. Not just that, he convinced the team to go out and get Paul George, and they traded away an arm and a leg to literally get Paul George, which is crazy, but they got him. I don't think he'd leave them, especially after all they've done for him and after the, you know, loyalty they've given him, because they have tried their hardest to actually make this team good. They've just had some bad luck here and there. I guess what you can say is at the time of making this video, they're going to Game 7. They're still in the playoffs and the Lakers aren't. Who knows? I guess we'll find out. I think it's tomorrow that they'll beat either the Mavericks or they'll lose to the Mavericks. When this video comes out, they will probably either be in the second round or they'll be eliminated. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But again, it will be very, very interesting. I think the most likely team to get Kawhi, though, is probably the Warriors, just because they're a California-based team. But the Heat, I don't think so. And the New York Knicks, everyone's been suggesting New York. I don't understand. Why would he go to New York? He's the type of dude that really, really hates the spotlight. The only reason he's in LA is because that's where he's from. I don't think he likes the spotlight at all. And I think in New York, he'd get a lot of that. So I just can't see it happening. In Miami, does Kawhi look like the type of dude to party till 4 in the morning in Miami? I don't think so. That's not who Kawhi Leonard is. I just can't see it happening at all. But again, I do think the New York Knicks is not going to happen. The Heat are not going to happen. The Golden State Warriors, probably not going to happen. But if there's anyone who'll go to, it'd probably be the Warriors. But I do have Kawhi Leonard re-signing with the Los Angeles Clippers. But of course, if you haven't already, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest NBA content and NBA news. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlog channels. Don't forget to check out my podcast as well if you haven't already, which I will link in the description down below. But as I was saying, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.